Hey yo.
Alright, hello and welcome to the Hollow Herald Podcast, episode number 27. Holy cow, it's going by fast. Every week just seems faster and faster. We are streaming live from our user location. If you're listening to the pre-recorded version, we invite you to come join us on the live stream. We live stream every Tuesday night at about 7. Sometimes a little bit earlier, sometimes a little bit later. So just be ready for that notification on your phone. If you guys want to be able to get notified when we go live, just go to the Hollow Herald channel, or next time you watch one of our videos, there's a little bell that shows up right next to the subscribe button. If you guys could go ahead and just click that, then you guys will get notified when we're live and with other stuff. So we actually tend to do some breaking news sometimes with like competitions and giveaways and certain stuff. So if you want to be just up to date, go ahead and hit that. And we don't post all that often, so you won't get spammed. So I think go ahead and try it out, see if you guys like it. If not, go ahead and unfollow us. Anyways, let's go ahead and just move on to the podcast. We got quite a bit to talk about, some exciting topics, some fun things have been happening in the community, and some fun things have been happening in our lives and your guys' lives, and we'd love to hear about it. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm Eric, I'm your host, and I'm joined by two of my good friends. One good friend and one not so good friend. How about you go ahead and introduce yourselves, boys?
I'm going first this time.
Whoa, this is my not so good friend.
No, this is your best friend. This is Austin here with the Hollow Herald again for episode number 27. Eric is right; it does fly, and yeah, I'm excited. Let's get the show on the road.
And my other pretty good, you messed it up, dude. Now I have to
gotcha.
My whole mojo. That's not how this works. Okay, and my other good friend. See, that doesn't work because you ruined everything, Austin. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Paul.
Well, I'm back for another week of the fantastic Hollow Herald podcast with my good friends, Eric and Austin. I'm Paul. I don't know if I said that, but I'm excited for another great week of MR news and talking about random stuff. So I hope you all enjoy, and feel free to leave your comments in the comment section below, or comment if you're on the live broadcast, as we do love an open dialogue with our viewers.
Yes, and we have our link dump down below. So any links we talk about during the show, whether they're off the cuff or planned links, so go ahead and be the link dump. We also have timestamps. So if you guys are short on time, or you don't want to hear us talk about ham radios or girlfriends or whatever we happen to hit on, go ahead and just skip to whatever your topics you guys want. It'll all be laid out right there, all beautiful for you. So I guess let's just jump right into it. Let's hit off with a little story this week. I like to start with a little bit of personal time on the podcast, and then we get into the news, which is probably what people want. What was last week? We asked what we could do better on the podcast. What was it? What did they say again?
It was research.
Yeah, be better informed so we can talk more about the actual facts and not just our opinions, I guess. I don't know.
And did we do that this week?
No.
We can't. I don't think we can ever do that because we have to have something to work for. And if we did that, the podcast would just be perfect. And nobody wants to just listen to a podcast.
You can't have a perfect live stream podcast.
Exactly. We either have to have audio cutting out, or we have to have some people complaining or something. That's just how it goes. That's just how this goes. So anyways, this week has been pretty interesting in the Hollow Herald, actually. We've had some videos do a lot better than we're used to. That's our Snapchat AR versus Holland's AR video did pretty well. It's in about just under 4K views, I think. And then we have, which is a lot for us, and then we have Dating a Hologram, which to our surprise and to Austin's, I don't have the correct word, volition, is just tipped over 5,000 views, and it's still climbing insanely. We're getting more than 2 views a minute right now, so that's really exciting. And it's really interesting right now because it comes at a time, at least for me, get a little bit personal here and a little bit serious. With the Hollow Herald, I feel like we've been churning out really awesome content lately, and we just haven't been able to gain much traction. Have you guys felt that way?
Yep. There's a lot of videos that we release that go underappreciated, I believe. Like the AR operation. That thing's really cool. I think that one needs more views.
Yeah, definitely. It's a major grind at this point. I mean, I feel like we've been at like around 1,400 subscribers since like June, so it's definitely a major grind. But hopefully, it'll start picking up here again soon.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and it's so funny. Me and Paul, probably about like 6 months ago, we got on Social Blade and we were looking at their projections, and that's like right when we just ticked over. Well, it's probably like not like 6 months ago. It's probably like 4 months ago. That's right when we ticked over 1,000 viewers, 1,000 subscribers. I mean, and we were looking at Social Blade, and it was like, oh yeah, you won't even hit 1,500 by the end of the summer. And we're like, oh man, there's no way. We're definitely gonna hit 1,500. We're gonna hit it by like next month. And they were straight. They were right on. Their projections were right on. We're going exactly with what they said we would, which hopefully there's like these viral hitters, quote unquote viral for us, and maybe some other videos if we keep churning out good content, will kind of turn the tides on that. But I mean, it's kind of been a grind lately. And hopefully we can start doing some collabs with people like Sean Ong and having more new people on our podcast and stuff. So we're getting there. We're picking it up a little bit, but I mean, it's been kind of grind. I was getting pretty down in the dumps about the whole situation, but I'm really glad these videos have picked up. That makes me excited. But I can't remember where I was going with this. I was going somewhere important. Anyways, subscribe to our content. Oh, I think only our subscribers watch the podcast anyway.
Yeah, I actually wonder how many like unique visitors do we get to the podcast? Like people that have never subscribed, probably will never subscribe, but they just listen to listen. I don't know. I'd like to see that number because I'm sure
that would be cool.
Close to zero.
Those metrics. I wish YouTube's metrics were easier to find, because I remember, man, I look back and when we first started our channel, we were getting like over 150 subscribers every month. Man, when we first started it was cranking. When you get back to that, I think I've noticed on YouTube though, I'm starting to get recommended smaller channels. I don't know if that's just because I'm watching smaller channels more, or I hope they kind of turn the tides on that. But I don't know. We'll see where it goes. I'm excited. I'm excited for the future. All right, so let's jump into some news, shall we, boys?
Yep, let's do it. So I guess I'll start because I was really excited about this. But Asus, their new mixed reality headset. Someone on Engadget just had a hands-on experience, and they posted a pretty cool video showing like how the controllers will work with it and the headset itself, and kind of the experience that you'll get from it. So what I kind of noticed from this is the guy was playing more of a VR game, but I can see a lot more potential with this than say like your Oculus Rift or something like that. And the controllers, the narrator compared, he's like, if you're used to like Oculus Rift controllers, then you'll love these controllers. They work pretty much the exact same.
Are these the new MR controllers?
Yeah, with
does it kind of explain how they work?
Not well. Yes, it does actually. So the LEDs around the rings, the device can actually see those, and that's how it's tracking your hand motions, I believe. And then you have like a trigger for guns, you have a joystick for movement, and it also has a touchpad. So they're pretty cool. They have a lot of functionality, it appears, and they look just like any other like VR controllers, I'd call them at this point.
So it looks like we're looking at about a $500-ish price point. Is that what he's saying down there?
Yeah, like I think the stated price point was like $450 or something like that. So it still falls much cheaper than like your Oculus or your Vive. Like if they're fully spec'd out, like you get all the stuff to go with them, you know?
I gotta say, man, that's a beautiful looking headset. Whoever their designer is deserves, I mean, a raise or a new position. I mean, holy cow, that is probably the coolest looking VR headset I've seen so far.
It's got that like sweet pyramid design.
I'll post this in the chat for those that are listening alongside. And if you guys are listening, go ahead and check it down in the linked up. I mean, it's got like this cool gradient view on it, and the eyes. It looks like, wow, that looks cool as hell. And wait, well, who else was it? I blank. Who was it else that just released another headset, just barely? Dell?
Lenovo and Dell have both come out with headsets now under this partnership program. Well, the licensing deal.
Those are a little bit on the lower, not lower end, but lower price range, correct? They're a little bit lower than this. They're like $350, $400, correct?
Yes. In the narrator addresses that, and he says that this feels much nicer than those headsets. Those feel on the cheaper side. This is a much higher quality feeling headset.
It looks premium.
Yeah, the materials, he said, feel premium, and whereas the others feel a little cheap.
I mean, which makes sense, which you get what you pay for. I think it's really fun to look at what they're doing with these headsets now, because VR, as we've seen it for let's teleport back in time like 6 months ago, VR was either unattainable or just crap. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It was the phone VR or the Samsung VR, the Google Cardboard, which was, entertaining, but it's not like truly what VR is. So you either had, unattainable VR that nobody would get really, or just crap VR. So it's really cool to see this middleman coming in and playing. I wonder how they'll do. What do you guys think? How do you think these mid-range headsets will do? The $350, $500. Where do you think they fit into the whole scheme?
Well, for me, I can see the way they're being marketed as this holiday gift. So I think you're going to see a lot more people who have them now. They're getting into that the affordable range, they're the price of a console. And if a PC gamer, it might be worth it to be oh, that might be a fun Christmas gift if you're their parent or something. Obviously, it's not oh, I barely know this guy, but I still am going to get him a gift kind of deal. But
yeah,
it's kind of if they're into the stuff, it'll be a good kind of gift idea, I think, and it will kind of open up VR to a more wide audience.
So I just found this other article. It's saying that these new headsets are not going to have Steam support initially. So I don't know.
Yeah, they're on the MS Power. They all run on Microsoft Mixed Reality. Oh, well, holographic, right? They all run on Windows holographic, correct?
Yes.
So I'm curious. I've actually seen a lot of discussion in the Holo developers Slack and online recently about how they're going to handle stores like this, because that's one of they say that's one of the biggest problems with the VR. A lot of people say is the fragmentation of the systems and the stores. Developing an app for Android and developing an app for iOS isn't the hardest thing in the world. But if you have 4 or possibly even 5 different stores and devices you're developing for, it gets pretty hairy for a developer. So they have to pick and choose, which kind of limits the experience for everybody. Do you think it's good to have a one shared VR store, or do you think it's kind of nice to have fragmentation so we go competition of devices and stores? What do you guys think?
For me, it's let's all have the same store and you can compete on devices as much as you'd like. But if you want the health of your industry to be okay, you're going to want a shared store. And I think that's one of the reasons that Android has such more widespread adoption. Yeah, the phones are cheaper, but also you just the store is really easy to access, and anyone can post there, and you can find basically anyone else's app on the Android store. So for me, I think it's good to have everything in one place, and then not have it fragmented, because you're just going to limit people. People aren't going to buy multiple devices just to try your app. You're going to have to pick and choose as a developer, and that just sucks, in my opinion, because you want as many people to use your app as possible or your game as possible.
Exactly. I actually ran into that problem today, not on a VR store, but the creator of Twitch, Justin Kahn, created Justin TV and Twitch.tv and everything, last year released a new app called Whale, which is a question and answer site, but people answer in the form of a video. So it's a way for celebrities and famous people or really intelligent people to answer questions really concisely and fastly. So you'll have an account and someone will post a question that's what do you think of Uber's choice to get this new CEO or whatever, to Justin Kahn? And it gets uploaded a bunch, and then he can just make a little 15-second video to do it. Kind of like Snapchat a little bit. But I really like the idea. It's a cool idea, especially for YouTubers or people like us, to be able to get ask questions like that, and then give immediate response to the community is really cool. But it's only on iOS still for a year later, and that really honestly just killed it for me, because I don't know anybody with iOS, and I don't know. And I don't want to recommend it to somebody I like a cool YouTuber, if I cannot access what they have. So it really does hinder the system. It kind of hurts the app, So I don't know. I kind of hope that all the companies, at least like in VR right now, are kind of more about trying to push VR rather than push their own device. Is that how you guys see it?
Not really. Like, especially with this news that these Windows headsets are not going to support like Steam games and Steam apps. I think that's going to be a big deal breaker for a lot of people, especially like that's almost going to make me rescind my holiday gift comment because there's nothing to do with it. I mean, the Microsoft Store is, I don't know. I don't like the Microsoft Store. It's pretty like not user friendly, especially when it comes to HoloLens apps.
We're not fans of it right now. Specifically, with Microsoft's been kind of not very friendly to developers or users right now. They're kind of off in their own little world right now, which is kind of a bummer. But you're exactly right, and I haven't seen or heard of any VR apps for Microsoft Store besides the home, like where you can see your desktop home or whatever it is. Did that say how many titles it has on it right now, Austin? Did you see that at all? Did you by chance see how many titles are on the Microsoft Store right now for VR? Dang it, I was hoping it was part of that article. Did it say when they're going to support Steam?
Let me see.
Because, I don't know, I feel like that's a big priority.
They just say not initially. I don't think there's a date out, but I mean it will come, but not.
Does Vive? No, Vive supports Steam VR. Does Oculus do both of them?
I believe so.
Because I remember that being a big problem. Like, people could only get certain devices. What store does Vive use? Sorry, guys. Should have been a little bit more researched and prepared. HTC Vive. The HTC Vive is a Microsoft product?
Really? Oh, wait. Did Microsoft buy HTC?
Oh, I don't know. They're selling it on their Microsoft Store. Did they? Oh, it's only $600. It's dropped from $800 to $600. Interesting. So now, I don't know. I guess it looks like all VR is kind of dropping. I heard that Oculus did. I didn't know that HTC did as well.
Microsoft doesn't own HTC. I'm assuming it's some sort of licensing deal where Microsoft is allowed to sell HTC products on their website. Okay. Because HTC is a Taiwanese company, so.
Interesting. So it must be some partnership or something.
Yeah.
And kind it looks like Rift dropped down to $500 as well. Rift is only $500. Wow, how much was the HTC Vive? I just read it off, but I totally forgot.
You said 600?
Did I say 600? Yeah. So the Rift, the Oculus Rift, is now the same price as the oh god, there's too many devices going around in my head. the Asus. All right. Okay, I posed this question to you guys. So you have $500. You guys want to get into VR, right? What is your go-to device at this point? From what you guys know, you guys are in basically. I'm not going to say we're super big into the VR community, but we know the devices and we know what's going on. What is your guys' go-to device for $500 right now?
Well, I think I'm going to take a chance and try one of these Windows VR because, I don't know, Oculus Rift never wowed me. So I'm down to try something new rather than go with an older device.
Okay. Austin?
I'm going to agree with Paul on this. I like the hardware a lot better with the new Windows devices.
Okay, so with the new Windows devices, do you guys get the top of the line, the Asus 500, or do you guys pocket an extra $250 and get the Lenovo headset?
I'm gonna go with the Asus because it just seemed I like a device that feels like it has good fit and finish. I don't want it to feel like it's gonna break. And from what I've seen with these first touches, that's not really the term for it, is it?
First looks.
Yeah, these first looks is that it is kind of feels like a premium device, and I like that about it. So.
Okay, Austin, same question. Also, viewers, same question. I'm curious what you guys have to say.
I don't know. I don't like dropping $500 on anything.
So you're gonna go for the 350 device?
Probably because I know I probably wouldn't play it that much, but that's just me.
You know, I'm split. I'm completely split because 500 is like a nice medium area. I think it's a nice area to like dip your toes in and get a really good experience, but not have to go all the way. But 350 is like you don't have much risk at that point. If you don't like it, it's like, okay, I'm only out $350, you know, it's not the end of the world. So, but if you're out $500, that's a lot bigger, that's a lot heavier hit, you know. I don't know. I'm totally split. I would have to do a lot of research, I think, which sadly there's not much information out about these devices now. So for newcomers like us, it's kind of hard to think about it. Well, let me go ahead and read some of the comments real quick. Noah says, have you heard about Varjo's 2020? It's actually said to be 70 times more powerful than Oculus and Vive for a VR headset. Okay, well, I'm reading the comments because when you guys pull up a link or something about that, because I haven't heard of that. Number one Holland's friend, welcome to the stream. He says he agrees Microsoft is doing better in hardware and worse in software. I think that's like, well, I don't know. It's kind of reverse of Microsoft's life. Well, I don't know. What is Microsoft good at, Paul? Just business grade stuff?
Yeah, in my...
Whoa. Sorry, I cut out for a second. What'd you guys say?
Yeah, I'd say, well, that's where they made all their money. And that's where they continue to make all their money, including cloud computing. They're a pretty big player in that. I think it's like the big players are Amazon, Microsoft, Google in cloud computing kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, okay. And then, no, it's HTC. Sorry. Sometimes when the podcast, when I don't read the comments right away, I kind of get lost in them a little bit. Sweet. Okay. Paul's got some links up about the Varjo thing. In VR space, Microsoft, number one Holland's Fed says, in VR space, Microsoft is a winner because hardcore games can be played on the Windows platform only. Okay, that's an interesting viewpoint. Oculus until it's on sale. So HoloLens says he goes for an Oculus. Hey, thought experiment, Jerry. I call you Jason. welcome to the stream, thought experiment. And number one HoloLens fan, Jason. Yeah, I'm just gonna call you Jason. That's too hard to say. Welcome to the stream, Jason. They are enterprise focused. Hey, Jason, I have a question. If you're still here, I don't know if you've left yet. You just did a panel, correct? What was your panel on? I didn't get a look at it very much. I just saw a couple bit of it. I'm really curious to what your panel was on because you had a really great show out. You had a really great turnout, and I'm curious what drew that many people in to listen to mixed reality content. Okay. Paul, do you want to hit us with what that thing is? Sorry, I didn't get a chance to look at it yet.
Yeah. So this Varjo 2020. It's like human eye resolution VR. So I guess it makes VR actually like not super bad looking. I don't know. That's how I usually... It's just really high resolution VR, basically. So they can... I don't really know. It's just supposed to be super powerful in terms of the resolution of it. I don't think anything has changed about the hardware. I don't know if anything can change with VR hardware.
That's a good point. Besides like haptic feedback and stuff, there's not a whole lot of area to explore with VR. Well, I guess, I don't know. You can never say that about technology because then they always find something new to explore. Interesting. Noah always finds the most underground weird stuff that nobody else has ever heard of.
So I'll read like a paragraph that explains sort of a bit about the technology behind it. So Varjo uses a very interesting high-resolution projection technology that can display a high pixel density image at the most interesting location where your eyes are looking at. For that, it also needs to use gaze tracking, but we know that this technology already works well enough to use effectively with rendering technologies such as full-edited rendering. So it's kind of like full-edited rendering, if you know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
So like if you look at if you focus on one object, that object is super high resolution, and then everything around it is kind of blurred out, so it can like process it easier. And it looks more HD.
Interesting. Sorry, people always tell us to do more research to begin other podcasts, but a lot of the times we come up with the things right in the middle of the podcast, so it's kind of hard to. We're doing the research right as we're talking about it, sadly.
Yeah, if I got that wrong, sorry.
No, that was great. Yeah, I think there's still a lot left to explore with VR. I feel like there's price point wise and technology wise and getting customers wise and just experiences. So far, I've seen some really cool VR experiences that could only be had in VR. You couldn't do it in a screen. You couldn't do it in augmented reality. It's like a completely VR experience, and I love that. But I have not found anything that has complete widespread appeal. Like Pokemon Go for VR, you know? I have yet to see an experience like that. And I think once we get an experience like that, it can really drive home that technology and drive home that experience for people. I think that's one of the biggest things missing from VR right now, personally. I don't know. I saw people on the Slack talking about VR, and they said it'll at least take a generation to start adopting VR. They say it's too abstract, it's too overwhelming for most people right now, and the use case isn't there. Do you guys tend to agree with that, or do you guys think VR is here, it's ready to use now, and it's good to go? I pose this as a question to the listeners and to Paul and Austin. Go ahead, Paul.
I don't know. I think I'd have to agree with them because I'm part of that group. Well, I'd say I'm part of the group that just doesn't see the use for VR in my life. Like, I'm kind of with you in the fact that there's nothing that's like, wow, this is incredible. Like, there's those cool experiences, but it's not like, wow, I have to have one. Like, I don't know, I think the way I choose to buy games is I have to watch at least, like, a video on the game of someone actually playing it. And when I watch people play VR games, it always seems just so gimmicky to me, and I just don't know why it seems gimmicky. Maybe because it is, but it just isn't there for me. So I'd agree that it's like a generation off.
Yeah, same. Like, because I'm a very like social gamer, and so like with wearing a headset, it kind of takes away from that aspect, I would think. And so I don't think I'd use it for gaming, but maybe if there's like some other applications for it, I don't know. I don't think I'd use it.
Yes, I think you guys are definitely not in the minority. You know, I know there's a few VR evangelists. Is that the correct word?
Evangelists.
Evangelists. Preachers, whatever we want to call it, out there they see the future, and the future is beautiful through their eyes, and I wish it could be there, but I don't know if it's the technology or the adoption or something is just not bringing that experience to life. And I think that's really, really sad because I read a lot of sci-fi, and VR is something that's very big in sci-fi. And the way I read about it, it sounds really exciting. But every time, exactly like Paul said, I watch people do VR or I try VR, it's cool, but it's not something I want to invest my time or money in. And sadly, I'm not that big of a gamer. So something besides gaming has to come in and draw me into this. And I think that's one of the I think that's one of the things holding VR back the most, because there are office apps and there are some utility apps, but none are like life-changing, life-altering apps. And for that reason, I don't know, kind of upsets it a little bit for me. Am I weird for feeling like that? You guys are kind of along the same alley, right? I'm not weird, right?
No. And I think basically everyone in the comments is also agreeing with us. Like, Thought Experiment says VR is almost all gimmick, and yeah, I agree. Like, at least everything that they publicize is gimmicky. So I think we're definitely part of the majority in that thought that like it's just not worth our time or our money at this point.
Yes, and which I don't know. Are you guys sad about that? Or do you guys kind of wish VR was more in our lives and a part of our lives, or are you guys content not having it be there?
I don't know. I've never really
with it not being there. I mean,
I've never really tried.
My life didn't suck before VR, and it didn't suck after VR. So, and I don't see how it will make it better. I can see MR making my life better. I don't see VR making my life better because I don't know. I like the real world.
yeah, I like the real world too.
Same.
But I think there are cool experiences to be had in VR for sure. I think there's cool worlds to explore and everything, But I guess I guess the best way we felt about it is me and Paul since high school, we've always like, and definitely with Austin too, our friend group, we've always wanted to try new technologies and try new experiences and try to call cool things like cryptocurrencies. Like we were there before cryptocurrencies were cryptocurrencies. Not that early, but we were there when Bitcoin was $40 a Bitcoin, or $30 a Bitcoin. And 3D printing, we were there when 3D printing was something you had to get custom ordered to your house, and we were super excited about 3D printing. I don't think VR ever caught our eyes though. Like we thought Oculus was cool and everything, but VR just never happened to us. But then we saw MR, and I'll speak for myself here, and then I'll let you guys talk about how you guys felt about MR when you guys first saw it. But I don't know, MR first seemed like the first technology I'd seen in our generation that looked like literally life-altering, because we've grown up with the internet, and we've grown up with computers, and we've basically grown up with smartphones. Smartphones were really starting to come out when we were getting old enough to care about it. And so we've kind of grown up with all those technologies, but MR and AR related technology is kind of the first technology that's been, holy cow, this is different. This is our generation's technology. I'll let you guys speak about how you guys felt about it now.
No, yeah, it definitely blew my mind. It was like, whoa, this is, I don't know. It was incredible. When I first saw the video from Microsoft, I just saw the possibilities, like how it could literally be used anywhere and everywhere in life. And I just never ran into that with really any other technology ever. Like, I can't think of one that was like, oh wow, this is going to change everything, for me at least.
Exactly.
Well, that and like the blockchain. I love the blockchain. I'm a big fan. But other than that, those two technologies, they definitely blew my world apart.
I feel like cryptocurrencies and blockchain got to go hand in hand, right? Do you kind of feel like that?
Yeah, definitely. Like cryptocurrencies for me are just like the use case for the blockchain, and now all of the serious players are coming in. Like I was reading an interesting article that over $1 billion has already been spent by companies this year in developing blockchain technologies for them. So like this is like not cryptocurrency, not like speculative currency stuff. This is real companies being like, yeah, we want to start securing our data like this.
Exactly. I can't remember. I saw a headline for an article that was like blockchain, the new medium for information or something like that. It's like the new carrier of information, whether that's, currency evaluation or your stock values or, just signing into accounts, I mean, the blockchain, we could go on the blockchain for hours. We'll have to do a whole podcast just on the blockchain technology. Anyways, Austin, you kind of have a little bit of a different experience because you got off your mission, which is basically like, going and living under a rock.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I had a 2-year religious experience where I had like a flip phone. And I was out of the scene of technology for that long. And I get home, and me and Eric meet up at like Five Guys Burgers and Fries, and he tells me about the future. And I'm like, oh yeah, right. There's nothing cool. And then I go and try it, and I'm like, wow. And I like almost curl up in a ball, and I'm future, future.
Just like mind blown. I remember that when I first showed it to you. I thought it might have been a little bit too early. I didn't want to just like drop all this information, but I was so excited to share it all with you.
I was like, wow, tech has progressed so much since I was gone.
And then you kind of realized how underground it was.
Yeah,
it's not like we're just on the cutting edge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're on a good tangent right now, so I'm just going to keep going with it. I read an article recently that was talking about the dangers of being first in something, whatever that is. The dangers of being the first person to try the new experimental food as a caveman, or the dangers and rewards. If you're the first to do it, everybody loves you. You're the first to find this food as a caveman, blah, 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 whatever. And the dangers and first of being first to technology. One of the examples they used was the founder of BitInstant, which for people that are into cryptocurrencies, which a few years ago was one of the first real ways to transact cryptocurrencies quickly. Because just a quick and dirty way how cryptocurrencies work. Me and Paul, I have a wallet, he has a wallet. I want to send him some money. I have to put that money on the blockchain, and then someone has to solve a little puzzle an algorithm, and then that certifies and verifies that it happened, and then he can have it. But that little puzzle solving place can take forever. Sometimes it could take a couple days, and if it's a low enough amount, it could literally go off into oblivion and never be seen again. It's one of the pros and cons of the blockchain. And what this guy did, he was a 22-year-old founder in the UK, I think, or some European country. And what he did is he would take you for your word that you put your money on there through the blockchain's word. And he would pay you instantly for your money and transact it really fast, right? Isn't that how like BitCash and BitInstant and BitGo work, Paul?
Well, BitInstant works like that, but Bitcoin Cash is a completely different thing. It is based on a blockchain. They just remove some barriers for it. But
so BitInstant works like that, correct? Though.
Yes, where the guy just has a huge Bitcoin wallet. Well, obviously he has a lot of capital to run this scheme, but he just collects Bitcoins from people and then gives out cash for the amount of Bitcoins at their current value. And then I think he finances it via selling his huge, like he probably has like millions of dollars worth of Bitcoins, because Bitstamp uses a BitGo instant. I don't know if GateHub does not yet, correct? But
they're going to soon. Hopefully.
And then who's the biggest right now? Coinbase. They have it. So this guy has to have millions of dollars in Bitcoins and in cash to transact all this stuff. And he just keeps on financing it by selling Bitcoins that he receives from people at a lower price and then selling it at the high market price.
Exactly. And so I think BitInstant's a little bit different than the one that they use now, right? I think BitInstant was like the original, and now they use like a different, whatever it happens to be. Anyways, that's the way it works. So quick and dirty rundown. Anyways, he was the first person to do that. He was, as some people would say, a pioneer in this technology. And it came and it bit him in the ass hardcore. He landed in the US, I think, to do some business here, and there's nothing illegal what he's doing, there's nothing illegal at all. No, nothing illegal, right? Yeah.
Well, he's technically laundering money, but if you don't know
That's
the
what he
source
got
of the money,
for.
You're not. Yeah, I wrote a paper for my law class on this about.
Okay, go ahead. I'll let you talk about it. You sound like you know a lot more than me.
Well, about how they're using, like that they use old money laundering laws to get people who are really rich in Bitcoin, to be guilty of it, I guess. So like the biggest case recently was this guy in Miami. It was a sting operation. The police were saying like, "Oh, we stole all this stuff. Can we sell it to you for Bitcoins? And then we'll just turn the Bitcoins into cash." And he's like, "Sure, like I'll do that, no problem." And so he got hit with the money laundering charge because he was taking the dollars from the stolen goods, turning them into Bitcoins, and he was making his money that way. And the cops were like, oh, we got him. But then the judge ruled that they couldn't get him because he didn't know it was stolen property.
Exactly. That's basically what happened. And so what happened with this instance, that's a perfect example. Well, what happened with this specific one is someone took their Bitcoin and they cashed it out, and then they used that cash to buy drugs, or they cashed the money and then they used the Bitcoin to buy drugs on like the Silk Road or something. And he got in trouble for laundering money, which is like, what the heck? If people around ATMs everywhere know that people go and they get money from ATM to go buy drugs, but yet the people that own the ATM don't get in trouble. It's that kind of ideology behind it. But he was a pioneer in the technology, and he had to be the one that got bit by this. And they have plenty of other examples for it. I think another example would be Oculus. Oculus was a pioneer in the technology. They spent a lot of time doing it. They spent a lot of everything doing it. And then they kind of got bit, and they kind of fell behind the technology for being pioneers. It's been so long since I started this conversation that I have no idea what my point I was trying to make with this was. But it was just the dangers of being first in a technology. And do you guys see any of that with like HoloLens possibly happening?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with Austin. I think it's a little too early to tell, but signs are showing that they could run into some trouble here, especially if they rest on their laurels, which it seems like sadly they might be doing, especially with just the way they've been treating people with like the store and all that. I mean, why would they take away the made from HoloLens for HoloLens section? It didn't make sense to me. But
Yeah. Yeah, no, we've complained about it. Luckily, we have some contacts at Microsoft, and we're trying to get some of our gripes worked out. And it seems like the people are really responsive, which is really great. But it seems like the developers and the corporate side of Microsoft seems to kind of be getting away in the innovation. And I hope corporate doesn't get in the way of HoloLens, because as someone that works for a corporate infrastructure, me and Paul, I mean, we can see how corporate can kind of stifle creativity and growth a little bit with just a lot of rules and regulations, for better or worse, depending on the instance. And I really hope HoloLens stays uncorporate as long as possible. I'd love to see it as this kind of underground mentality that kind of grows on itself. And you know what? I think Meta's doing that right now, and I really want to get our hands on a Meta. Can I say that again? I mean, we need to email them back, because I want a Meta so bad. I kind of feel that way about Meta. Magic Leap, bring us to Magic Leap. You mentioned Magic Leap, Paul. I just read an interesting article. I guess we can kind of jump to our Magic Leap drama section of the week, shall we?
It's not really drama this week. I think it's actually something pretty cool. But I think you're the one who posted the article, so I didn't have a chance.
I lost it. I can't find it. There's too many links here.
I'll post it.
Engadget. Wow, Engadget finds everything. Okay, sorry guys. So here's the link we're going to talk about, so you guys can get a hook.
I already posted it. Don't post it.
Oh, there it is. Double for you guys.
I got it.
You guys can pick whichever person you like better and choose their link. Oh, whoa. Message retracted. Interesting. I didn't know it would say that. So this is an article from Engadget. About 12 hours ago it was posted, so it's really hot off the press news. Talks about Magic Leap is experimenting with light-bending nanomaterials. Metamaterials that color butterfly wings could improve optical displays. They have a really cool image here. I recommend going and clicking on this image, because it's really interesting to look at this. They have a picture of a butterfly for people listening to just the audio version and not clicking. They have a picture of a butterfly, and then they have like really up-close like microscopic level pictures of the wings, and it's got like this really cool layering to it. Anyways, if not, it's just cool to click on the link for that reason alone. And it basically just talks about how they're delving into this new technology and experimenting with it, which is what we've heard from Magic Leap. They're always delving into new things and experimenting it, but we don't really hear anything coming from it, sadly. It's probably because they're so secretive. But it's really exciting. Noah could probably drop a little bit of a better comment in the description than we could ever do justice about reading it. But I'll just read a little paragraph. That brings us to research. According to Berkeley Lab, the team developed 2 new ultra-thin silicon-based optical chips by carving 20 to 120 nanometer beams is in quotes, into silicon using electron beam etching that formed an infinitesimal diffraction grating. And there's one right over my head. Like the type you might remember in high school science class. Those split and bend light into different colors depending on the beam pattern, much like a prism. Now to me, that's kind of a really exciting part of it, because they can take that technology and adapt it into MR lenses and MR light beams and stuff to get you a really, at least what I'm gaining from this is to get you a really crisp, clear image. Is that kind of the gist of the article, that they're using this technology to do that?
Yeah, it appears that's probably the case. They didn't give any indication that this is in their headsets, so we'll have to see if it does make it. But it'll be interesting to see how it works.
Yeah, I mean, basically our Magic Leap's drama every week is just summed up to they're working on something. I don't know what it is. Looks really cool. Can't wait to see a device. Is that basically what it sums up to, guys?
Yep.
Okay. Noah says that we're correct with what we were saying, and Noah is like the Magic Leap guy, so he knows pretty good. I'm going to run through some comments real quick. Holy cow, there's a lot. I'm not going to run through some comments real quick. Okay. Jason says something. He says, we at Thought Experiment are working on a cross-platform gaming visualization platform called Open Doorways that will incorporate AR, MR, VR, Xbox One, PC. VR will offer immersion that you can't get on other platforms. It's exciting. We ought to get Jason on the podcast, because he was like Microsoft's MVP developer, I think, most valuable player developer. with HoloLens, which is really exciting. Did you guys see that YouTube TV is coming to Utah?
No, I thought it. Yeah, I saw that article. I thought it was just something they rolled out for everyone. It didn't matter.
Is that true? Are they just rolling it out to everybody?
I didn't think it was. Oh, I guess it did only originally hit 5 markets. They say. Okay, that's kind of weird that they would release it so slowly. I mean, it's just a TV service like Sling TV.
Let's see. Here's the cities that it's launching in.
Yeah, Cincinnati just got launched.
Okay, sweet. Austin, Texas, Birmingham, Cleveland, Denver, Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, Greensboro, High Point, Winston-Salem, Harrisburg, Lancaster, Lebanon, York, Hartford, New Haven, Indianapolis, Kansas City, Milwaukee, Norfolk, Portsmouth, Newport News. This is the way they write this up is really hard to read. Oklahoma City, Riley, I think that's how you say that, Durham, Salt Lake City, San Diego, and St. Louis. What's the point of rolling it out all those places and just not rolling it out to everywhere? That's basically everywhere, every big city in a state.
That's basically everything that Google does, is they love to do these slow releases, and then they stop. And everyone's like, what happened? And they don't tell us what happened. And they're just like, yep, no longer happening.
Scare tactics. I feel like it's all scare tactics. Google Glass, they just, they could have kept going. They just didn't want to. They just wanted to scare people into started making technology for them. And say Google Fiber, I feel like that's what it is. So for you that are listening that don't know, YouTube TV is a little different than traditional YouTube app. For $35 a month, customers can stream national channels such as ESPN and FX, as well as local TV stations like ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC. I'm curious what you guys think about this, YouTube's approach to this. I haven't really got a lot of time to think about it and collect my thoughts on it, and I don't think you guys have either because it's so new. What are some of your guys' initial impressions? I'm curious to the viewers, too, because you guys are using YouTube. You guys are watching a stream on YouTube, so you guys are obviously ingesters of YouTube content. Sorry, I'm flubbing a lot. What do you guys think of YouTube TV? Is this something you guys would ever think of using?
For me, no, and I'll tell you that it's because they're late to the game. I mean, I'm already a Sling subscriber. If I'm going for television, it's going to be Sling TV. They have everything I want, so I'm good. I'm already a taken customer. So for me, they're just too late to the game. And they're not cheaper than any of the other services. They're all priced the exact same. So I don't see what's the difference.
So for technology-wise, yes, you support it, but for them, for who it is, for the platform, no, you're already taken?
Yep.
Does Sling do all TV channels too, not just sports?
Yeah, Sling, you can get whatever you want. Besides, local channels is a little harder, but unless you're older than 50, I don't think you care about local channels.
Exactly, I was just going to say, unless you're a grandparent. What about you, Austin?
Well, once you get Plex, you never go back, right? So, I don't know. I feel like the content I watch on YouTube is a lot different than what I would, I'm going to watch informative videos here and try and learn something through YouTube. But when I want to watch entertainment, I'll go somewhere else. I don't know.
Okay. I see where you're coming from. It's kind of same take as Paul. Just like you use YouTube for what you use YouTube for, and you use other platforms for what you use other platforms for. I tend to agree. I kind of wish YouTube would just stick with what they're known at doing best, building awesome communities and growing awesome creators. I wish instead of focusing on getting people that are trying to watch TV, they would focus on their bread and butter and make that as good as possible. Make it easier for smaller channels to get bigger. Make it, figure out their algorithm, get rid of all the clickbait, fix those problems before they start adding TV. Because exactly, all three of us just said we're not going to really use it. So are they marketing this to the YouTube audience or to TV audiences and trying to give them a solution to this problem? I can't really tell. Have you guys seen anything?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen any advertisements for it besides on YouTube itself. So maybe it is for the YouTube audience. And Beamer180, he brings up an interesting point that all your content would be in one place. Yeah, that's true, but I know Disney is also working on their own service like this, which means ESPN would be taken off of these services because they're just like, well, you could come to us for your ESPN stuff. So it's going to be interesting that all these companies are now splintering, so you're going to lose this content in one place idea that he brings up.
Exactly. I think we touched on this last week very briefly. We talked about Disney launching their news source, and I guess it fits in more to this conversation this time. You know, I think one of the reason people left TV is because they hated the fragmentation / one place of it all. Like, to explain what I mean by that, is fragmentation as in there's Comcast, Dish, Time Warner, blah, blah, blah. You could go on all day. But at the same time, you have to have all of the content you don't want. You know, you have so much extra content built into those. So at the same time, you're getting a lot of ability, you know, but you're not getting a lot of, I mean, you're getting a lot of freedom, but at the same time, you're getting a lot of restrictions just by who you pick. It's just this weird conglomerate. I mean, so many people are cutting the cable every day that this is weird. And I think we're going to start seeing that happen with Netflix and Hulu and Disney streaming service and YouTube streaming service and Amazon streaming service and all these big ones, because Comcast is going to get in the game and everybody else is going to get in the game. Do you think we're going to see a repeat of the TV? I think I asked this question last week, Paul, but I'm going to propose it again. Do you think we're just going to see a repeat of the TV methodology just replaced on the internet?
Yeah, I said it last week and I'll say it again. Yes, it probably will happen. Just because that's what companies want. They want their money and they want it now.
It's my money and I want it now. I don't know. Is that worrisome at all to you, or do you think it's just the way of things going?
I would say it's worrisome because I have never been a fan of that model, and I think it will scare a lot of people off, and then the next big thing will have to come to disrupt the market again. But if all these companies come in here and they say, oh, we have a streaming one, you're just going to see it's just not going to be good for
the overall platform.
For the platform and for consumers, because you're going to be paying like 5 different companies, probably $15 a month for different streaming services because you can't get their channels on someone else's platform. So you're just running into this problem where you're spending more than you were before on cable, and you're getting less content for it. Well, less quality content, we'll say.
Exactly. I kind of hope that people don't try to get their hands in too many places. I think that's what will start to cause the most problems, with people like YouTube trying to reach into getting TV and YouTube Red subscriptions and all this premium content and weird stuff that YouTube's never ever done before. And now they're just trying to get into that game, that cash grab. And Netflix does what they do well. They do movies, and they do Netflix originals really well. And Amazon does Amazon selling, and then their Amazon Prime does its own kind of Amazon Prime thing, their Prime Instant videos. But then you have Hulu, who's really good at TV shows, and they kind of stick in that niche. I kind of hope we don't see all these like people, everybody trying to do everything at once, and I don't know. I just hope it doesn't become too dangerous. So I'm gonna read through some of these comments real quick before we get too far off track, and then we'll probably get to our closing statements. Let's see. Jason says, I don't watch TV. I pretty much only watch YouTube, Twitch, or Mixer. And I think everybody that's probably in this chat and watching this and talking on it is exactly the same. We get our content online. What about getting all your content in one place? Beamer says, you don't have to go everywhere to get all your content. We addressed that. Hollow and Spence says, talk about free versus paid. We love free. Free works to a point, you know, and that's kind of where most people start to get a gripe, is when it transitions from free to paid content. And for better or worse, it's kind of a process we have to go through. That is what I'm saying. You can get all your content on one platform. As a consumer, that will kill my interest. I don't want to get multiple places. It weakens the streaming market. Plus, I don't want to pay $15 for subscriptions, says Beamer. It will drive piracy. And yeah, I guess it will, but everything drives piracy. So yeah. Any closing words, boys?
Thanks for showing up, everyone. We enjoyed the great conversation in the comments, and come around next week, and I'm sure we'll have more great conversations to have, and hopefully be a little more prepared, but no guarantees.
This one came on me quick.
Thanks for listening in. And you guys have any like HoloLens video?
Oh, you cut out, buddy.
What?
You cut out.
Oh, do you guys have any like?
Still cut out. He's cutting out. I think his keyboard's...
Okay, it's working now. I think it's working.
Okay,
do you guys have any like HoloLens video ideas we could do, or apps that you want previewed? If you could drop something in the comments real quick, that'd be great. Thanks for listening.
Yep. Okay, I guess that's we're gonna go ahead and end this one. Let me get up the music, bring it up. So I guess it's that time of the night where we bring the Hollow Herald podcast to an end. And I gotta say, this was a pretty good one. We hit on some really good topics. We had some great chat. We had some great involvement from the live stream. And I hope we have to continue that to the final version. And we have some great conversations and great discussions down below in the comments. I can't wait to have that. Sorry about lacking content to anybody that's there and still listening. You guys are our hardcore viewers, and we really, really appreciate you. Sorry for lacking of content. It's kind of been a bum week here at the Hollow Herald. Even things are going so well, there's some stuff behind the scene that's just been causing problems. We're gonna get right back on the horse. Tonight, we're gonna get some videos out, and hopefully tomorrow or Thursday, hopefully definitely tomorrow, we're gonna have more content. We're gonna try to get back on our schedule of like about 3 videos a week or 3 pieces of content a week. And we appreciate you guys for everything you guys do, and we appreciate everybody that showed up to the live stream. That's you, Beamer, #1 HoloLens fan, Noah, Jason from Thought Experiment, and sorry if I missed you and you didn't stop by. Thank you guys so much, and thank you for everybody that's listening to the final version. It means so much to us. We do this for you guys, and the feedback is so great, and we just want to grow this community, and we want to grow with the community. So thank you guys so much. This has been the Hollow Herald Podcast, episode 27. We'll catch you guys in the next one.